Good afternoon. This presentation is in relation to the requirement for DPA 755 for public administration as a profession. My name is Trinka Landry Bourne, and I will be speaking in regards to the potential idea of a dissertation on the topic of executive coaching, leading with courage, and driving excellence in public sectors. In relation to this topic, executive coaching being so important and detrimental within public service agencies, and it hit close to home for me as I have worked within a public sector local government agency for over 28 years, and I firsthand see at the executive level, and I'm speaking at the director and higher level, where there is an unspoken expectation that you are independently responsible for your own vision as an organization, the passion that you have, the integrity that you bring to the job and the organization and role model for your employees, as well as the ongoing growth and development. Often you will find there's a lacking in channels of support as far as peers or colleagues to have readily available access to at any given time to bounce ideas off of or discuss challenges or circumstances for guidance in moving in that most efficient and effective direction that needs to meet within the requirements of what needs to be accomplished for your organization. So in those roles, many times there's this personal way of feeling as though you seem weak or you appear to not be effective in your role if you are asking questions or have concerns in regards to some of the day-to-day processes that take place. So I see the need and I see opportunities working with the chief executive officer and chief operating officer specifically to San Bernardino County, and really trying to move forward with a better and greater support system and training and development and coaching for executives on a regular basis. Executives are so busy day to day and don't always take the necessary time to continue to provide themselves with those necessary development development skills and or opportunities for growth because so much has to get done. And so within this executive coaching program or recommendations for bringing forward to other agencies, it allows the opportunity to meet the goal and the purpose of coaching those executives to self-emerge and not fear or allow fear to get in the way of their ability to excel at what they do best. And so really just providing that ongoing support to allow them to continue to be excellent in what they do, and then to be able to redirect when it's not quite moving in the direction that it needs to, or providing that additional support to help gauge or drive what needs to be accomplished. And in doing that, in order to be effective or efficient in that process and to have and gain accountability, it's promoting that reflection and resolution to continue to learn from mistakes and learn from experiences and be open to those mistakes. Oftentimes, when you make it to that level, you feel as though you can't make mistakes. And so sometimes it's this precedence that's set that you have to be a certain way or say things in a certain manner to not necessarily provide all the details that are required or necessary to truly gauge what needs to happen or the direction that needs to go. And so being able to dig deeper to get to the heart of the matter and then build there. And so incorporating tools, and when I get to the theoretical framework, I'll talk a little bit more about those models and frameworks, but really having opportunities in this process to bring forward practices, tools, building positive and efficient habits that can be used on a regular basis, that's not only improving that executive in their role, but also disseminating throughout the organization at all levels. So even though we're working specifically with executives, it's role modeling in a way that there's a continuous promotion of empowerment and growth at all levels. And that you recognize that in the progression of moving to all those next levels or wherever you're trying to be and enhance in the current level, that really identifying what's essential to being the best that you possibly could be to bring forth that excellence and incorporate it to make it as something as your own and not trying to constantly get to that level. It's an ongoing growth and not just, okay, I made it to this position. I don't need to do anything else. And so, really looking for opportunity within the research statement to drive home the problem. So, in doing this research, really excited about being able to identify the various problems because I don't think that it particularly is one over another. I think that there's some very strong areas of concern as to why we get to this concern as a problem or um, not truly recognizing the need. And so outlining a better purpose behind what is needed in order to continue to drive and set an expectation of ongoing quality improvement, not only individually at that executive level, but for them to promote that within their organization or agencies or departments as well, but still bringing it and driving home that significance behind it and why it's so important. And that's where it's really nice to be able to not only draw on other experiences of others that are working in this field and being able to look at other dissertations, other articles, in other books and things like that. Posner is such a great theorist in this field, as well as so many others. Greenleaf, when you talk about servant leadership, Bennis, when you talk about leadership. And so, really bringing home so many important aspects of what they have provided to us through their extensive research of not only personal experience, but getting out there and doing some qualitative and quantitative analysis to get to those conclusions. So, really looking forward to being able to draw a lot of that out in that research process. When you look at the guide to how we obtain the research and really dive deep and to get that better understanding, because maybe there's not support that's needed. I believe it to be. It appears to be enough research out there to support my hypothesis or my theory. But who's to say when I really start looking at the the different aspects and comparison and contrast to what executive coaching and leadership entails, maybe there's not as a great need as I initially see it to be. However, I do feel that my initial research and really looking at what was out there with all the available resources to me and identified that with the different theories and concepts and so many great theorists that speak in regards to leadership and coaching and development, I do see that this is truly something that I will be able to align theoretical frameworks and models and really pull out those problems and purpose and significant and identify truly appropriate questions that can lead me to provide within my study better recommendations and analysis when we talk about overall business and concept mapping, when you talk about driving servant leadership and developing and enhancing those knowledge, skills, and abilities of those that you interact with. Behavioral theories, how are we looking at those and really using those to analyze aspects of how we can identify those needs. Emotional intelligence becomes an important aspect of that, of really being self-aware, but also not just social, and how are you making those adjustments that are needed on a regular basis. So change theory, transformational theory, and then incorporating other models and frameworks that have known to be beneficial and credible in the field of executive public sector, such as Lean Six Sigma. And so seeing the value in those, and are they truly needed to drive some of those results that you're trying to accomplish. It would not be a effective or complete dissertation or study of this topic if the public administration PA pillars were not included. And so in relation to this topic, and what I seek to accomplish is greater support of evidence to align with the needed accountability at that level, such as a coach, to keep you on track and engaged and involved and using an innovative mind and keeping your eye on the desired future that you are trying to accomplish through your vision and your passion and being ethical in what you do. And so all those things are components that I plan to ensure are included in this study to again drive home the importance and the value that it brings to any organization within a public sector. So with that comes the efficiency and the effectiveness of how you do your day-to-day business and how you meet those needs of the business, as well as empowering your staff to continue to be productive with positive morale, engagement, and support and interaction. And so really looking at your organization not only through tunnel vision or reactive on how things are happening, but more so from a equity and fairness perspective as well, to make sure that we're looking at things for the best possible outcome that they bring, not just always the greater good, but what's the greater good with the least amount of risk, and really aligning with overall vision and what are your mission of what you're trying to accomplish as an organization or public service agency. Within this study, I see the methodology being a mixed method because there's so many aspects that can be drawn out to achieve this ultimate outcome of the various theories and practices and recommendations and things that are working well and not so well in regards to executive coaching and courage and excellence that it brings. And so definitely looking at qualitative studies and research analysis, mixed method, as I said, observations, interviews will definitely be very important in this process to make sure that we truly gain all the information that we need with the support that's needed to drive home the outcomes and recommendations. So initial thoughts of questions, and these are not, you know, the end final be all of the direction that I plan to go, but just kind of getting that thought process going. I think I love this presentation for that purpose because it really allowed me the opportunity to truly start really thinking about what this study will entail and all that is needed to make sure that we incorporate those important and valid aspects of really bringing what is needed to the executive at that level on a regular basis, taking into consideration their busy schedules, having to multitask, working in autopilot in most instances. And so, how do you pull them away from that and really give them what they truly need, even if they don't recognize that they need it? So, I'm not going to read through all of the questions here, but some of them just in regards to really identifying what are the qualities and characteristics as an effective executive leader, identifying if there's ongoing personal growth and development that's already taking place, because maybe there's things that are being used and are already effective that we can look at and further support or share and make sure that it's being used universally and not just siloed in one area. Leadership styles, looking at how often we are engaging staff, getting their feedback, getting their buy-in, building our awareness on what truly is taking place. As you get to that executive level, the higher you go, the more and more you lose sight of really what's truly going at that front line or at that lowest level. And so just trying to identify how our executives looking at their organization and really forward thinking and driving some of those change and innovation opportunities that come their way, and are they remaining focused to not miss those opportunities as they come. And so what, as I said, looking at if there's already things already out there and in place, so what resources, tools are being accessed already, maybe that's something that we can use and incorporate. And with this, and looking at not just the questions, looking at potential the methodology and just the overall theoretical framework, with the plethora of research that's out there, this is just a small gauge of what could be used for this study. But taking into consideration, there's still so much more, and really looking at this opportunity to utilize my schooling and the requirement for completion of this program, and not only gain new insight that can be useful within my organization and bringing great positive change to the organization that can really be effective and efficient for decades to come, but also being able then at that point to share with other agencies and public sectors that can take this information and easily transition it into the processes that they have for their executive coaches. So you hear of executive coaching, you see it at a often, more often than not, at the private sector level, and it usually comes with a great cost. And so really looking for a public sector opportunity to drive home the oppor- to drive home and bring knowledge and research and evidence and practices and recommendations and analysis forward that are beneficial in whichever department that you work in. So thank you for this opportunity to take a further look as we begin to move into the dissertation development process. And I really appreciate the time that I gave to this project to be able to really start preparing myself of what's to come in the future, and all the extensive amount of information that is needed to truly be able to make a professional and scholarly research and analysis of this as a beneficial support to any public sector and organization. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to future discussions. Take care.